So the story of Stanley the katydid. Um, I don't know when he showed up in the house. He came in and was just sitting on a bowl of fruit, and we were like, "Aw, little dude." And we got a piece of salad and reached out to him, and he set out his feelers. I'll make this a little clearer. He set out his little feelers and ran at it. He was sitting on the rim of a bowl. He was clearly hungry because as soon as he sensed that there was a piece of any kind of greens near, he started moving fast at it and started munching away. And so we were just he's not doing any harm. It's he can hurt him. And usually we let little bugs right back out, but we did notice that he had the back of his butt chomped off. So he had half of his body even left, and he was missing a leg. Clearly, he'd had a day. He'd been through some shit. So we didn't think he could survive out there in the wild. Also, where our dogs could likely eat him, and they could have done the damage for all we do. And, he disappeared eventually. We were like, oh, okay. He probably had a nice rest of his life here, eating salad, and then, at least he was safe from predators until he died. And then, a few weeks later, he just shows up again, just standing on a fruit bowl again, waiting for more food. So, we brought him more food, and he was fucking psyched. He reaches out his little antennas, and as soon as he sees it, he goes at it. And he would crawl in our arms, and he flew into my friend's hair, which was adorable. My friend also loves bugs, so it was welcome. And ever since then, we would keep thinking he's gone and died, honestly, because he not only is missing a leg, but you can't fully see it here, but his whole ass is chopped off. He's missing a good part of his body. And it's now been a month and a half or so where he just keeps disappearing and showing up again. And so the last time he showed up, my mom saw him, of course freaked out, as she does with bugs, and was just oh my god, what is that? And me and my dad were both simultaneously oh, that's Stanley. And she's what the hell is a Stanley? And we're oh, this is Stanley. He lives here. He's been living here for a while. I don't know, he shows up every once in a while, and we feed him, and then he goes wherever he goes until we see him again, and his name is Stanley. And she's well, Stanley can live in your room. And so it's all right. And so I brought Stanley in here, and what's really lovely is that at least once a night I get to hear, I have no idea where he ever is, because he disappears and hides until he's hungry, and then he shows up somewhere very prominent, on the edge of something that's really easy to see, so that we definitely find him. But until then, he hides. And but I get to hear the katydid chirps. He doesn't do it all night or anything, but 2 or 3 times per night I get to hear these comforting, reassuring Stanley chirps of hey, I'm still here, I made it, I'm safe here, I'm figuring it out, I'm making it. And this is just the latest. I think we've had 2 months of Stanley sightings now. He's been chilling in my room. I do not know where he goes. He's not in an enclosure or anything like that. He is a wild katydid that is missing most of the back half of his body that was chomped off, and one of his legs, but has been a damn survivor. We saw him poop once. It was really funny and gross. It was way too much like human poop in both the poop consistency and the physical action, but it was pretty funny. But yeah, now he just, whenever I do see him, I know that he's making himself seen, and it's because he's hungry. So I go, I keep a little bit of salad in the house at all times, which encourages me to eat more salad, so there's that. And then I grab a few leaves, and I bring it to Stanley. He acts like he's expecting it, honestly. and he chows down. And he will be here chowing down till he's full. And then I won't see him, but at night I'll hear him. I'll hear the katydid chirps, not like incessantly, but comfortingly, once or twice throughout the night, and it'll be really nice. And I kind of look forward to it at this point. And then he'll just disappear again until, probably until he's hungry. And then he'll just make himself known and we'll be like, oh, hey, Stanley. And honestly, he's become the oddest fixture in this house because, like, other than putting out, like, thimbles of water and, like, different salad leaves for him from time to time when we see him, he's not like a contained pet. We don't put him in, like, a jar with holes in it or something. He's just around. He just kind of disappears after he eats. And other than chirp chirp a couple of times at night, we would have no idea. But then he just appears. Never like we find him, but like he perches himself somewhere very, very clear. And then when he sees us, he will like reach out to us with his antennas and remaining legs and just be like, hey, it's me. It's Stanley. I'm hungry. And so we bring him food. I don't remember when we named him Stanley or when we decided he was part of the family, but both things are true. He definitely doesn't seem afraid of us or anything. He's just living his life. And honestly, that alone is kind of amazing because he has had a hard time of it. I hope our dogs weren't the cause of that, but they do eat grasshoppers and crickets and stuff. It is a shame, but, you know, animal nature, I don't know what to say about it. You can see the poor guy. That is not like a stinger or anything. We've examined closely. It is a torn off back half of him, and we have like even investigated what kind of katydid he is and stuff to make sure that he's not supposed to look like that, and he's definitely not. He's definitely got his ass bit off and lost one of his long jumper legs, like the other hind leg. He's just got the one right now. But, you know, he's making the best of a difficult situation, and he's become part of the family. And so that's the story of Stanley the katydid. My understanding is that katydids live between 1 and 3 months. I would think a katydid that had a big portion of his body torn off would live less long, but here we are. I know from markings like, you know, missing a leg and most of an ass that, you know, it's not a different katydid. It's Stanley. But it's always good times when we see Stanley. Me and my dad love seeing Stanley. Me and my friend Vincent love seeing Stanley. He's always welcome here. He's just part of things. And he trusts us, probably like more than is smart for an insect, especially in a house full of dogs that would eat him. But he's smart enough to also stay up high enough. Like, he goes on counters and stuff where dogs can't get him, and he knows the places that they can't get to, and he stays to that. But once he's hungry, he makes himself excessively known and just perches there and waits, and then waits to see us walk over with a leaf, and then just runs at us and just starts eating. And we get to watch him eat. His little mandibles go in. It's so cool. He's so cool. Anyway, his close-up. I love